needs analysis.
Okay.
Okay, and actually, if everyone wants to bring up their computer, so you can kind of enter stuff in along with it. If you, do you have a computer? Do you have yours? Is your EAP already installed?
Yeah.
Perfect. Yes.
Put my name for primary insurance.
Let's actually, I'll start from the beginning with you, which is a very good place to start.
Married with dependents.
Alrighty.
That's my family status.
All right, and let's all let's put all in the same names, dates of birth, all that, or not names necessarily, but definitely dates of birth and stuff, so we can all be on the same page here. So we go to sales, and then we log in, and we always, if we're using ours versus the EAP training, we're always going to put it in training sale mode, not live sale mode.
What date of birth did you put in?
I haven't yet.
I
I'm
have
getting.
1980. What do you have?
I don't.
All right, so yep, let's put something in 1980 works perfect. Okay, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna put their group right here. Like, I believe you have UFCW 700 on yours, and then you have Liuna 213, and I have IVFA in mine.
You just want to put.
I'm trying to get it.
Where you at?
Well, I'm already on the needs analysis because that's where I left when I was practicing at home.
Okay, we can keep it there because that's where we're gonna go to.
Okay. But I don't know if this is responding or not. Oh, it's working. Okay, we're good. I just have different names.
All right.
Your union has entered into
Yeah, let's skip through.
an AIL, giving
Now, the first one that I want to focus on, because I don't want everyone to get tripped up, is going to be on your AD&D. The first no-cost benefit is your accidental death and dismemberment benefit. This has been provided to you by your group as a way of saying thank you for being a member in good standing. I'll let the video explain.
we see the headlines every day.
Then after the video explains, we'll get their beneficiary, we'll get their contingent beneficiary, and then we're going to hit add referrals.
And then you put their
And we're gonna
other.
put them in. But I want to go through kind of a proper referral collection. Are you there to that point? Okay, perfect. All right. So now, guys, this always used to be a closed program, but now what they allow you to do is they allow you to give away $20,000 in accidental death and dismemberment benefit. Isn't that awesome? Now you can do this in $2,000 increments, meaning you can sponsor up to 10 people to receive the same exact benefit that you just did at no cost to you or them. Now the neat part is that those two contingent beneficiaries, they automatically qualify, so we'll start with them. Now you've already got their names written on the back of the AD&D cert, so we're not going to ask them who they want to sponsor, we're going to take those. So what you want to do up at the top is put who are you with right now, because you're going to have so many people that you're not going to remember who John is. So we're going to put, we're with John and Mary Smith.
Okay.
And they are with whatever organization you have. Like I have the IVFA, you have UFCW 700, you have Laguna 213. So you're gonna put their organization, because when we go to call these people, we're gonna, you know, John. I was out to see John and Mary Smith the other day. You know, he's with the volunteer fire department, and he sponsored you. So the more information that we can give them versus the information that we have to ask for is gonna be better.
Because it looks like you're more legit.
Absolutely. As instead of just grabbing somebody's name out of the phone book. All right. So your contingent beneficiaries. Neat part is your contingent beneficiaries automatically qualify. So we'll start with them. Now you said your mom is your first, so her name is Laura. Last name Smith. Now, does your mom have a spouse or a significant other? We don't ask husband, wife, because a lot of people
You don't know if their
you don't know.
preferences
And
anymore.
we don't care if they're married.
Yeah. Who else? Do you have another decision maker in that house?
Oh,
That's what we want to know. A spouse,
Okay.
significant other, another adult that lives with you. Oh, you do? Okay. What's their name? Not his or her, but what's their name? Steve? Okay. All right. And I got mom's phone number here is 999-9999. All right. And what's Steve's number? Okay. If they don't have it, they don't have it. If they do, now you got a second contact number. So use 33333. All right. And this is John's mom.
Mhm.
Now, notice that it's all crunched together because if you put a space in there, it won't let you submit it.
Oh, okay.
Yes, very important because it will drive you insane trying to submit it. So it can't have a space, like if it's brother-in-law, but put the relationship to who it is. All right, so we got John's mom. Okay, and what's their address? Spring Street. Now, if they don't have the exact address, now their mom, they probably know their address, but if it's like their friend, I don't know their exact address, but that's okay. What's their cross streets? Where do they live by? So we're getting some type of
As long
landmark,
as you get some kind of a street.
some kind of something, because it's like if you call someone who's a referral, and you know, I was at John's house the other day. He referred you. What's your address? What's your date of birth? Do you have any
Mhm.
kids? You know, like that's creepy. So the more information that you get, the better. All right, so mom lives on 123 Spring Street. Is that here in Fort Wayne? Yep, sure is.
So let's just say, like, my family is from Colorado, so I put Colorado, and then I put out of area.
Then you click
so
the out of
that would
area.
go to another
Yep.
agent somewhere else. Okay.
Yep. All right, and then what's the zip code? 46806. Perfect. All right, and mom and dad, they still working or are they happily retired?
I'm tired.
They're retired? Okay. So now I know that they're retired. I'm going to set them for like my 1 o'clock slot versus my 6 o'clock because that's reserved for my families. All right. So they're retired. Okay. And how many grandkids they have total?
4.
4? All right.
My zip postal code, it's not letting me type anything in.
Do you have your number lock on?
Maybe.
All right. And then next you said your sister. All right. So we got Sarah. What's her Smith? All right. Now does Sarah have a spouse or significant other?
Another.
Okay. And what's their name?
Her name is Lee.
Lee. All right. And what's Lee's phone number?
That's her number. Yeah.
All right. And then we've got Sarah's number. Okay. And Sarah is your sister, Mary, right?
Yeah.
All right. Oops, if I can spell. And what is Sarah's address?
Horse 2. That's all I know.
All right. So she lives on Horsetooth. Is that here in Fort Wayne?
Yeah.
All
Or
right.
I can say Colorado. That would be
She's in Fort Wayne. Perfect.
fine. Yeah, we make up there.
All right. And does Sarah and Lee, do they work days, nights?
Work nights.
They work nights like 7P to 7A, or like what time?
They probably start about 3 in the afternoon.
So more of like a second
morning.
shift?
Yeah.
Okay. So like 3 to like when? 10, 11, 9? All right,
Yeah.
perfect. All right, so I know that I'm going to go see them. They're going to be at 12:30 or 1 o'clock or maybe even a Saturday appointment. Okay, and do they have any children?
No.
No? Plenty of nieces and nephews. I'm sure they play with your kids a lot, right? They go over to Auntie's house?
Nope, I'm the only one with kids.
No, they don't. But your kids don't go over and play with their auntie? Oh, no,
Oh, with their aunt?
yeah.
Yeah.
So they
yeah.
got something. So they got your
Yeah, yeah.
niece and nephews. So I'm going to put that on here. So I know for the child safety kids, because they don't have any
Oh.
kids, but I'm still going to play that video
And,
because
and they teach dance and gymnastics to younger kids. I'm sure they'll have
Oh,
a
they do.
lot of people that they could refer. I know too much.
Perfect. So
That's
I'm
the
gonna put
kind
in.
of information that you want to gather.
That's
Yeah.
that's the kind of stuff that we're gonna put in there. All right. All right, so we got them. So you've given away $4,000. So you only have $16,000 left, but it does get better. Your immediate family, they automatically qualify. So Kyle, you said that that your dad, he lives in Warsaw.
Yes.
Okay, and what's his name?
Arnold.
Arnold. All right, and does your dad have a spouse or significant other?
Yes.
All right, and what is his last name? France as well.
Yes.
And what's his spouse's or significant other's name?
Christy.
With a C or a K?
With a C, I think.
Perfect. And dad's phone number.
It's amazing what you don't know.
Yes.
Like I'm relate to. I don't know if it starts with a C or a
All right,
K.
and what's dad's address?
1103 North Santorini Drive.
All right, and that's in Warsaw,
Yes.
Indiana. Okay, and they work days or nights?
He's retired.
Retired? And what about Christy? She's still working?
Yeah.
All right.
She works mornings, just for a few hours.
All right, and how many grandkids they have?
About three.
3 grands? All right. Perfect. All right, who's next? And I'm going to keep who's next to you until you run out of people to tell me, and then I'm going to start with your friends. You know, you mentioned that you're on a bowling league. You mentioned that you teach music. Who's the teacher? You know, who are the people that you teach? All right. So once we get all that information, then we're going to hit submit. And all that information is going to go into your impact that we just set up.
Okay.
So you'll have all of those leads right in there.
Okay.
All right. And then we're going to go through each of the no-cost benefits. Then we're going to roll our referrals. And then we're going to get to this, which is the transition.
Where's that?
13.2. Okay. And this is, okay, go ahead. Say it.
All right. Now, this video will sneak up on you. If you exit out of the referrals or you hit continue, you will hear since birth and you'll be every
Yeah.
single time. It'll happen for about your first 50 times, and that's okay. It happens to everyone. That's what the space bar is for, just hurry up and match it.
I spent 20 minutes trying to figure out what was going on. I was
Yeah.
like, that's not supposed to be.
Yeah, I've
Yep,
done that.
and just say what you have to say. So now we're at the transition. So who's gonna take the transition? That's the people who mail back the card.
Each member that sends us back a card is seen separately because each member has a different need or want. What is right for you is not always right for the member I just saw or the member that I will see after you. Is that
That's next week.
This next video.
Oh, this this next video will explain in simple words the needs for these benefits.
Perfect. Play the video.
You spend each day preparing for the future.
Didn't know I was gonna put you on the spot, did you?
Nope.
All right. So now after the video is over, then we say.
So now I'm gonna ask you a few questions.
Now they have a little bit more
to
knowledge.
let you, to give you, oh, now that you have a little bit more knowledge about the different types of insurance, I'm gonna ask you some questions to see what you qualify for.
And then we'll go from there. So now we're gonna put in their family situation. So just make the guy born in 80. And we'll make the woman born in 82. Or 80 as well, sorry. And then we're gonna throw a couple little ones in there.
When I was learning, it was always Tim, Mary, and Timmy. Timmy.
Make one of them Masmina.
Possibly not.
Mas and a Masmina. All right, and put one of the children born in 12 and the other one in 14.
What do we put for the children's name?
Whoever you want. Joe, can you keep an eye out for Alberto?
I'm listening, yeah.
Perfect.
I'm gonna check.
And for the dates,
It doesn't matter. Just put the first one born in 12 and the second one born in 14.
Okay.
All right. So now once we put in their information, Now we're gonna ask those 3 questions, which are,
Have you recently been hospitalized?
any daily
Or
medications,
do you have any daily medications?
okay?
License. Has your license ever been suspended due to or revoked due to a moving violation?
And then the third one?
Have you had any recent hospitalizations?
Alright, so once we ask all those 3 questions, and that's not only for the primary, but that's for everybody that's on this needs analysis, is anyone. Are the kids taking an inhaler? Are they hooked to a nebulizer every night? What type of medications is everybody in the whole household on? This is where we're gonna do our preliminary underwriting. Okay,
So
so-
do I write that down somewhere? Or?
you can, absolutely.
Okay.
As you go on with time, you can keep a mental note, but if not, you know, if they're on high blood pressure medication, then you wanna ask some more in detail questions, which we'll go through, when you're going through underwriting and when you're going through, your classroom training. Okay, yeah, I'm on blood pressure medication. Okay, what was your last reading? How long have you been on it? Is it under control? So you'll start learning to ask those next level questions, but preliminarily, just ask any medication. So let's just say for all practice purposes, we're not on any daily type of medications yet. All right. Now what we're gonna do. Hello, Alberto. Joe, if you want to catch Alberto up to speed to where we're at.
Yeah.
All right, so then we're going to go through all of these questions. Now, when we ask these questions, I know it says any internal cancer in the past 2 years. What we want to ask is any cancer ever.
Okay.
Have you ever had cancer? So
Okay.
take out the 2 years. Have you ever had cancer?
Mhm.
Because we know that if the answer to that is yes, and they're under 60, then there's really not a whole lot of ability to get them the life products. Now there's other products that they can get, but that's what we want to ask them. Under 60, ever had cancer ever? If yes, what kind? You know, dig a little bit deeper. Next is your insulin diabetes. Take out the word insulin. Do you have diabetes?
Okay.
Because some people are taking, you know, metformin, like it's out of a pen dispenser, but they're not on insulin.
Mhm.
So then we'll ask the next level questions. You know, what is your reading? How long have you been on it? Things like that. But just cross out the word insulin.
Okay.
And do you have any diabetes? Now at this point, the computer is facing us. Because if we need to manipulate the screen in any way, and we don't want to, you know, start manipulating the screen when people are looking at it. So this is one of the only times that the computer is facing us and not them at a 90-degree angle. Okay, now any cardiovascular disease. Now we want to separate these because all they'll hear is the very first thing that you said. So all they're hearing is heart attack on this, or cardiovascular disease. That covers heart attack, stroke, peripheral vascular disease. And I always usually ended up with any problems with your heart, any problems with your ticker, okay? And go through there. If they've had it, you know, then put in the dates. Now, is anybody currently using oxygen other than the stuff that we breathe? Is anybody like hooked up to oxygen? Terminal illnesses. And the Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's is not a joke. Now, sometimes people will say, haha, not that I can remember. If they make a joke, then they make a joke, courtesy chuckle, move right along. But Alzheimer's is not something that we joke around with at all. None of this is, but especially that one. So, have you used any form of tobacco in the past 12 months? Well, no, I don't smoke cigarettes anymore. However, they have the pen that has nicotine in it, or they use chewing tobacco. That is a form of tobacco. So any e-cigarettes that have nicotine, any chewing tobacco, any form of tobacco in the past 12 months.
So any form of nicotine.
Nicotine, correct, yes. I answer that, and we're not going to click the exclude from application. And then, is anyone currently on probation or parole? Now, when we ask these questions, you're not asking you don't have diabetes, do you? You've never had cancer, do you? You've never been on probation or parole, have you? Because we ask them that way, now we're coaching them to tell us no.
Mm-hmm.
You would be surprised that some people that you meet that you think grandma's at home knitting a sweater, but she's smoking, you know, a joint every day, and she just got arrested for DUI two years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to ask these questions, not assume these questions. So, is anyone on that application currently on probation or parole? No. Now, and then has anybody ever been arrested or convicted of a DUI? And they say, oh, well, how long ago? No, ever. Ever.
Okay.
Because if we do underwriting's work for them, that makes
They'll
everybody's
become
life easier.
Oh, yeah.
Well, no, but the thing is if we ask them,
Mhm.
I don't know, I haven't gotten a DUI since the 90s, and I don't drink anymore. I don't care. It's going on that application because they will find it. And if they find something that you've omitted that you could have easily put on there and it wouldn't have been a big deal, now it raises a red flag. So ever is the key word on here.
Okay.
All right. And all right. So Kyle, what is you get paid weekly or bi-weekly?
Me?
Mhm.
I got paid bi-weekly at my last job.
You get paid bi-weekly? Okay. Now after taxes, insurance, after everything comes out, what are you bringing home every 2 weeks? 2,000? Perfect. All right. So 4,000 a month. And that's after taxes, insurance, after everything. Okay. And then Mary, how about you? Do you get paid weekly or bi-weekly?
You get paid weekly.
You get paid weekly? And what do you bring home a month after taxes, insurance, after everything comes out?
500.
About 2,000 a month? Okay. And I'm asking you, I always ask, do you get paid weekly or bi-weekly? For a very specific reason, because at the end, if we agree to something and you get paid weekly and you ask me to hold it to next week, that means you get paid paycheck to paycheck. I'm worried about my retention at this point. Okay? Because if you don't have that first month's premium in your account right then and there, the chances of it being there next month are pretty slim to none. So I always ask, what do you get paid weekly or bi-weekly? Because if you just got paid yesterday, you get paid bi-weekly and you're already broke, well, let's find something that maybe fits your lifestyle and your budget a little bit more. All right. So now, how much life insurance do you have through work, Kyle?
3,000.
25,000. Perfect. And then Mary, how much do you have through work?
0.
You have 0. All right. All right. Now, who wants to explain to me how work insurance works?
I can.
Okay.
Okay. So while you are working for your company,
Okay.
you are insured.
Okay.
But if you were to quit, get fired, or retire, your benefits are no longer there. That's because while you're working with your company, you are a part of a group. It's a group policy.
Okay.
So while you are there, you are covered. But like I said, once you quit, retire, or get fired, it's no longer there. Does that make sense?
It does. I didn't know that though. Thank God you're here. All right. Now, do you guys have any coverage permanently in place to take care of funeral and final expenses? No?
0.
Either one of you? What about the kids? Do you have coverage on them?
No.
Okay. Now, do you have any term life outside of work? No? All right. And do you guys rent or own this beautiful home?
Rent.
You what?
Rent.
You own? Okay, perfect. And who owns it? You or the bank? You still paying mortgage? All right. About how much do you still owe on this?
30,000.
30,000. Oh, you're knocking that down, huh? And about how many more years? 10? Perfect.
18. Okay.
Perfect. And do you have anything to pay off your
Do we
mortgage?
have to put the interest rate?
If they know it, they know it. If they don't, that's fine.
Oh, okay.
And do you have any insurance to pay off your mortgage in case of death? Most people have like fire and flood, but do you have a
Now, does
policy to
it
pay off
count,
the mortgage?
because
Mhm.
some, like when you first get a mortgage, your mortgage company has protections that count?
Most of it's fire and flood, unless you have a separate policy, but they usually let you drop it after a couple of years, and
Yeah.
most people do because it's
Okay,
expensive.
so should they get it?
Absolutely.
even
But
if-
we ask them if they have it.
But that's because your mortgage company gets the money, not you.
Yeah.
So you'd say no.
Yep.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yep. All right, and would it be safe to assume that you want the kids to go to college?
Yes.
Yes, and do you have any money saved up for that yet?
No.
No. All right, and when you guys bank, do you primarily use checking or savings?
Check.
Checking? Okay. And is everyone caught up to this spot right now?
Yeah.
All right, perfect.
We got in there quick.
We
Perfect.
want inflation built in, right?
We're never gonna click those buttons.
Never
Just
touch
that.
leave it. Yep, leave it alone.
Just wondering.
Yep, leave it alone. Yeah, because we definitely want inflation protection built in. Okay, so now when this computer is going to factor everything for us, so we know with our little cheat sheet what videos are going to come up. We know that for the primary, so for John, final expenses are going to come up for $30,000. We know that income protection is going to come up for 5 years. We know that the mortgage is going to be protected. The college education is going to show up for both kids, and the child's rider is going to come up. We also know for the spouse that there's going to be $30,000 in final expenses, and there's going to be $120,000 of income protection. So we know right now that all 4 of those videos are going to play. So this is our little cheat sheet.
No surprise.
Oh, that's cool. I wondered what that
Cool, huh? All right. Now next, Alberto, welcome to the party. Next is our mandatory read-off letter. I'll give you one for the fire department. Now when we get these are for each individual union, credit union, or association. On one side, it'll have the pre-approach letter. That pre-approach letter will be the letter that they received in the mail when they decided to return that reply card. On the other side is going to be the mandatory read-off letter. That's what we're going to read to them in their house from their union.
So will we have like a folder of these or something?
Yep. Those are just ones that I just used the last couple of days, so they were already in my little loose leaf. All right, so now we're gonna go to the read-off letter. So Alberto.
Do we read this to
Mhm.
them? Okay.
All right. So, and you're not gonna read the whole thing right now, but
Okay, so the read-off letter, here's the way, the read-off, the approach letter will always have this fine print at the bottom, okay? And that fine print's where it tells them that when they send that card in, we're gonna come and see them. So when I get these out, I always look for the fine print, flip it over. That tells me where I'm going.
Thank you.
I was gonna say, I'm kind of like, doesn't say real quick.
all right. So we're at the read-off letter. So now introduce the read-off letter.
Okay. Before we continue, it's important that I review your mandatory read-off letter with you,
Okay.
and then just start from the beginning of this.
All right, don't worry about reading
You just read that too.
it. But yes, in the house we read that.
Yes.
too. So you're gonna start with the basically.
Okay, yeah, sorry, I was kind of all flustered. Basically it says that after I show you the, man, caught me on the fly, because I've been working really on the last one.
Sure.
Show you the benefits.
Yeah, after I show you the benefits, explain how they work, answer all of your questions, you give me a simple yes or no. And then,
These benefits make sense.
if these benefits make sense, go ahead and take advantage of them today. It may be difficult for us to get back, because of the number of members we have to see, it could be difficult to get back out. If they don't, that's okay. Here's your group report form. I'll have you complete the form to be sent back to your group so that they can have your feedback about these benefits.
Good job.
Gosh, that was a hard.
It's tough.
You caught me on the fly because I've been so focused on the last like
I know.
25%. Like, all
You
day.
did great for being on the fly.
That's
I'm
right.
like,
All right. So now we're gonna go into who's gonna take the first major gap.
The first major gap on the needs analysis found has to do with the costs of the final and funeral expenses. Who's the client? Is it
John. Mary.
Okay, John. When you die, who will be responsible for your funeral arrangements?
Mary.
And Mary, do you know that?
We don't really talk about those kind of things.
Okay, this next video will explain how the program will provide a immediate lump sum of money to take care of the final expenses that are associated with your death, so your family is not financially burdened.
Perfect.
The warmth of family.
Took a long time to do that.
You got it.
it's hard.
Now what you're gonna do, ladies, men, if you have
I'm sorry.
if you have manicured nails, use your nails. If you do not, use a pen.
This is my Jack Daniels.
I got a missing finger.
So what we're gonna do is, John and Mary, as the video stated, the average cost of final expenses today is $15,000. However, because of that inflation that we saw, the recommended coverage for you, John, is 30,000. Now, right now, you don't have anything in place to cover that, so your need is 30,000, and that's the amount that we're willing to provide you with if you qualify. Make sense?
Mhm.
Now, Alicia, same thing for you. Recommended coverage is 30,000. Right now, you don't have anything in place, so the need is 30,000, and that's the amount that we're willing to provide you with if you qualify. Does that make sense? And why does having final expense coverage, why does that make sense to the two of you?
So our funeral can be covered and our spouse doesn't have to worry about where to get the money.
At this point, you guys are selling each other. I'm not selling you. You're selling each other. Okay? Go over the coverage separately. Have them sell each other on why it makes sense.
Okay.
All right. All right. Who's got income? All right.
So Mary,
Mhm.
if something were to happen to John tomorrow, would you be able to afford food, utilities, gas for the car, auto insurance? all
No, that is income.
And how about you, John? If Mary were to pass away tomorrow, would you be able to afford all that stuff?
No.
Well, this next video is going to show you how you can protect your income so those everyday expenses aren't a burden after you are to be gone. That's what
Your paycheck is the economic heartbeat of your family. It pays
You
your
gotta wait,
rent,
you gotta wait.
It's a heart attack.
utilities, car payment, medical insurance, groceries, incidentals, leisure. Most families take this for granted until it stops. It is an economic heart attack. AIL's income protection.
Here we go. All right, I'm better.
All right. So,
Your paycheck.
John, you told me that you bring home $4,000 a month.
Yes.
Over 5 years, that's $240,000. Now, right now, you have $25,000 in coverage through work, which is a good start. But there's still a gap that Mary would have to do without. That's $215,000, and that's the amount we're willing to provide you with if you qualify. Make sense?
Yes.
All right. Now, Mary, you told me that you bring home $2,000 a month, which 5 years of that is $120,000. You don't have anything in place to cover your income, so your need is $120,000, and that's the amount that we're willing to provide for Kyle and the kids if you qualify. Does that make sense? Why does having now $335,000 for your family, why does having that money make sense to you guys?
To cover everything because we make so much, so that makes up for if something were to happen to one of us, it can cover those expenses.
Absolutely. And keep your family in the lifestyle that you've grown accustomed to.
give me 5 years to figure out what I'm gonna do to instead of right away having the panic. I have 5 years hopefully to worry about how I'm gonna supplement his
Absolutely.
income.
Absolutely. And guys, that's what most people say, and they feel comforted knowing that this is here. All right, Alberto, I'll leave you with the easy one. And we always say yes
Yep.
to display ADB products. All right.
Okay, the next video will explain how we can help cover or help protect your mortgage.
Everyone dreams of owning their own home. The purchase of your house is the
All right. Now, Kyle and Alicia, you told me that you still owe $30,000 on your home. Right now, you don't have anything to pay that off in case of death, so your need is $30,000, and that's what the program's willing to provide for you if you qualify. Does that make sense? Why does paying your house off? Why is that important to you?
So we don't have as much debt as far as like monthly bills that we have to pay.
So you have time to decide if you want to stay in that house or
Well, that until you have the option.
yeah.
You know, your home can stay in the family, family can stay in the home. Absolutely, and that's what most people say.
And especially if you have kids, it's one thing to lose like a
Move
parent.
to a school
But then if
district.
you have to leave your house and everything you know, that's just devastating.
And speaking of, this next video will explain how we're going to protect your child's education.
I see.
As parents, you hope
I paid her for that. All right. Now, guys, like the video stated, the average cost of a 4-year in-state tuition today is $68,000. However, because of that inflation that we saw, the recommended coverage for Susie and for Barry is $100,000 per child. Now, right now, you don't have anything saved up for their college education yet, so the need is $100,000, and what we're willing to provide each one of the children with is $85,000 for them to be able to go to college.
So a person may ask, why don't I get 100,000 each?
And the reason being, this goes based on 5 pennies on every dollar, so it's not going to suggest more coverage than what's affordable. Also, what you will learn in class is that depending on their income will depend on if the mortgage comes up accidental or term, or this comes up accidental or term. What their income will support is accidental right now.
Okay.
Now, we can always switch that. If someone wants to switch it to something else, it will be a little bit more expensive, comes with a price tag, but this is what they qualify for financially right now.
Or if they insist upon having 100,000, you
So
can
if it
increase
says
that.
ADB, that means that's
Accidental death
So
benefit.
it has to be an accident.
Correct.
They can't just have like a heart attack and die.
Correct. But we can switch it and we'll learn all about products
Oh, okay.
during class 100%. Absolutely. Absolutely. But this is not
Now
good.
I have another question.
Yes.
This is because I have kids. Okay, so let's just say Susie decides she doesn't want to go to college. Can you use both of those on another person?
No.
Or is that just cash you get? And
Just cash, it's just kind of earmarked for
So
that.
you don't have to use it for
We're not
college.
contracted with a mortgage company. We're not contracted with a university. This will just be tax-free money that goes to them.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that will go to each of those
Mhm.
kids. Okay. All right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Okay. All right, guys. So to recap. Joe, can you be my pointer?
So I have a question.
Mhm.
So do you recap all of this before you do the A100?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Because that's one more benefit that I
You
want to
can't get there.
Oh,
Okay. So, all right, who's saying the words as Joe's recapping?
so as you can see,
No, we're,
Nope,
we're,
so to
we're
recap.
recapping.
I'll recap.
Recommended coverage is.
Nope, so to
So to
recap,
recap,
you've got your final expenses
we're gonna
taken
provide
care
your-
of.
You got your final.
Final expenses are taken care of.
Your
Your term.
final expenses taken care of.
Your income is protected.
Okay.
Your mortgage is secure. And your children's education is secure.
And then there's some riders, and we'll learn about these. The children's rider is going to be, each child will be covered for $10,000 until the child reaches the age of 21 or the parent reaches the age of 65. At which point they can convert this into a whole life policy of their own, no questions asked. Guaranteed
No.
insurability for up to $50,000. Next is your terminal illness rider. You're diagnosed with a terminal illness and given 12 months or less to live. We will give you half of the face amount or the cash value, whichever's higher. Go on vacation, get a second opinion, whatever you want to do with it. Upon your passing, your beneficiary will get the rest to take care of your funeral and final expenses. We have our layoff waiver of premium. You are on an authorized union layoff and you have been employed, excuse me, for at least 60 days. And they have an authorized layoff. We will pay your premiums for you for up to 3 months. When you go back to work, guess how much you owe us? Nothing. We keep this in effect when you need it the most. Same thing with a strike. You're on an authorized union strike. What we're going to do is we're going to pay your premiums for you for up to 12 months. During that strike, when you go back to work, again, you owe us absolutely nothing. Then we're going to go into, all right, someone start with these. So we've recapped. Now we're going to go scoot that down so you can see option 1, option 2. We're going to scoot this up so we can see what option 1 and option 2 are. Yes.
They're just learning the script. You might want to add the ACU.
All right. So someone start me with, there's one more benefit I want to show you.
So Joan and Mary, I have one more benefit that I would like to show you. This is a benefit that will help you with expenses if there were to be a medical emergency, if there were to be an accident.
What happened as a result of an accident.
Yes.
So we go down to this little box, and this is where all of our additional programs are. we click on the A71, that's the accident. We want to make sure everybody's included because everybody's happy, healthy in the house. So we're going to go to primary, spouse, and child. And then we're going to click the add button. And then, oopsies, come back.
Too far.
There. And then that video is right there. So the video is what we're going to do is after we introduce it, we're going to hit play. As soon as I can get my life together. All right.
An accident can happen to anyone,
This will play the accident video.
and in any place.
Then after the video is over, what do we say?
Also,
So these are the different coverages that this plan has to offer.
No, we need to hit this verbatim.
As the
Also
video
include-
stated,
This video stated. There are many different types of benefits. This
chart.
chart illustrates a basic outline of how the accidental protection will work. And then we tie it down.
Also included in this protection for your family is all of the accidental hospital benefits that we cover.
no,
Okay,
the
No,
tie down
This is
for
the
the
tie down.
A71.
Actually,
I'm sure you can see,
the need for this.
the importance of this benefit should something happen as a result of an accident, right?
Yep.
Get their agreements on that. All right, now we're gonna bring it home. So, so somebody start with it, if all this makes sense.
If all of this makes sense, starting as of today,
You've taken an important step.
you've taken an important step to be properly covered, to make sure that your needs are protected. They have given you two options to choose from.
Mhm.
Option one is all
right here.
Okay, so, 30,000.
Mhm.
Someone has the full include.
And that includes the inflation built into the final expense.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But then, are we on option two?
Mhm.
Okay, option two covers all the needs and has smaller amounts of inflation built in.
Close. $20,000.
Okay.
Okay, a full $20,000.
So you save the
Yes.
cost?
Option
Okay,
one
so it doesn't-
includes,
Yeah, no,
A
that's
full-
not how they learn it.
yeah,
Because and that number can change for
yeah,
everybody.
it can.
So,
Okay.
option one, inflation protection built in. Option two, all the benefits,
Lesser.
smaller amount of inflation protection built in. So the only question that I have for you is which option is gonna work best for you? Option one or option two? But point to option one, point to option two, not down here, but up here.
Okay.
So they can see what they're, because they can see that. That's clear as day. It's a huge big green number. It's bigger than anything on the screen. Except for those big red letters
I'll
that say
even,
trading.
I'll even scroll down so that they can see that all of the other, what you can't see past, that means the education and the 871 are below this, right?
So all that's included. So, all right. So all this makes sense. Starting as a check, blah, blah, blah. So which option is going to work best for you?
I can't afford this.
You can't afford what?
The premium.
The premium? Oh, Kyle, premium is not your problem. It's actually kind of the solution to your problem. If you can't afford it today, while you two are still working and it's pennies on the dollar, how's she supposed to afford it when it's dollar for dollar and you're dead and gone? You know what? Go grab your driver's license and your checkbook. We'll go ahead and get the application started. All right, let's go round robin with rebuttals. All right, Alicia, I still can't afford it. I can't afford that. And while you're learning them, grab your rebuttals because you don't want to learn them wrong. I like how you did your magical rebuttal.
I was trying to pick it up.
Trying to
All right,
gravitate it up.
Alberto, I know you've been working on it. You want to pick it up? I can't afford it.
I think I understand what you mean. You're saying that your cost of living is so high that nothing is left over for life insurance premiums. Is that about right?
That's exactly right.
Right. Always when you put me on the spot, I just go blank. Is that about right? if it takes all of your income for your family to live now, what are they gonna do with little or no income when you're gone?
Yeah, you drive home a good point, but yeah, I can't afford that.
So can your family afford to be without this protection?
No, but we can't afford to be with it at $304.74 a month.
Can your family afford to be without the income if something were to happen to you?
No.
This plan represents only a few dollars a week layout in terms of things for your family would have to do without. Would you agree that this is a small sacrifice to make?
Yeah, but if we can't afford it, we can't afford it. Kyle, that's crazy. We're actually planning our very first vacation to Florida. We're gonna go see Mickey Mouse.
Oh, really?
So yeah, so we can't afford that right now.
Okay. You may not need more insurance.
When people
Nope.
say they can't afford things, aren't they talking about luxuries?
That's why she's the
That's why I
Florida
threw in my
Mickey Mouse.
vacation in there.
Oh, okay.
Luxuries.
That was a big hint.
Take it with you with the luxury one.
When we talk about things we can't afford, aren't we usually speaking about luxuries?
Mm-hmm.
Well, life insurance is no luxury. It represents food, clothing, shelter, education, and basic income for your family should something happen to you. Wouldn't you agree that this is just a small sacrifice to make?
You don't think you'll be able to do that when you, but yeah, I saw where you were going. Awesome. So you guys have had your presentation last like less than a week.
Yeah.
You're killing it. All right. You know what? Alberto, that all sounds great, but I just don't want to take on any more obligations right now.
Yes, I'm sure that like most people, you have the normal number of current debts, unpaid bills, and the like. But wouldn't they have to?
And they still have to
They still have to
be
be
Yeah,
paid.
but wouldn't they still have to be paid when you die, and one of your spouse be the one responsible to pay them?
Well then,
Yeah. Well then, it's always this like beginning process. Well then, wouldn't you want to make sure that after paying the obligations, your spouse would have an income that's enough to live on?
Yep, but just you know what? He's got 25,000 through work, and my parents are loaded. So yeah, we'll be fine. We just don't need it right now.
you're right. You don't need it now. You're not dead yet. I can guarantee you this, however. Life insurance is like a parachute. If you ever need it and don't have it, you'll never have it again. Tell me, do you carry a spare tire in your car?
No, I drive a boat. To work. Okay. You know, I think this all sounds great in theory, but Kyle, if you'll just give us the weekend, we want to think about it, and then we'll call you back on Monday.
Are we still at the same block, or can I
No, we're
I
now
wanna
on
think
the.
about
I
it.
want to think about it.
think about? Okay, I encourage you to think this over. However, I recommend that you be covered while you think about it. It only takes 4 to 6 weeks to issue the policy.
Fine.
Let's complete the application and bind the coverage today. This way, your family will be protected while you think about the coverage.
All right, yeah, I'm all about that, but we don't do anything in life without thinking it over first. So we're gonna think about it.
Okay. Obviously you wouldn't take the time to think about this. Why don't we make a quick list? What points do we need to consider?
Okay. Now, what we're gonna do is we will have you will have our rebuttals. Those are kind of like our little bullets in our gun. Now you're never gonna run through all of them with somebody at the same time. So we start out with I can't afford it. All right. Give them a couple rebuttals, getting to think about it. But the most important thing to do is once you ask option 1 or option 2, that's when your lips have super glue on them. Because you just shoved a lot of information at somebody, and chances are they're thinking about it. So don't just, oh, but if not, I can do that. No, just me. The first person who talks loses. And sometimes it will seem like you are waiting for 55 minutes for them to open their mouth when all they're doing in reality is thinking about it.
Do you ever say, do you guys need some time to talk this over?
Nope.
I'm the expert.
Nope.
If you have a
I'm sitting
question,
there.
I'm here.
As a matter of fact, Alberto's rebuttal, that's when I take my pen out, I flip a piece of paper over, I'm ready to write. I'm ready to make a list. What do you want to think about?
Okay.
No, we're the experts, so why are we gonna leave? There's nothing that they can do with me out of the room that they can't do with me in the room.
Okay.
You know, no, absolutely not. But then, so we go through a couple I can't afford it rebuttals, and then it's really, okay, I can't afford it. I'm not going to pressure you into writing me a check for $304.74 that's going to bounce. Like, no, that doesn't protect your family. That doesn't get me paid. I mean, it's not helping anybody. So, okay, then we're going to move on to what's called the adjustment close. And this is what I probably marked out on everybody's. But now is where we're going to learn it. And this is going to be given to you in your first week of class, but you guys are so far above the game. You guys will actually be going to school together. The two of you will. What we're going to do is we're going to just blow Mr. Taylor's mind when we keep going with the different things that we know, because we're ahead of everybody. So when it comes to the adjustment clause, now this is where we get really compassionate. Guys, I completely understand and appreciate your concern. The last thing that I want to do is create a financial burden for you and your family, and I'm sure you agree, right? And when you also agree that if something were to happen to you, that would create a financial burden for your family? Okay. So the way that I look at it is, today, two possible negative things can happen. One, I can show you a plan that doesn't fit into your budget. Or two, I can leave here with your family completely unprotected. Let's make sure neither one of those happen. Yikes! Everything broke down. All right. So now what we're going to do, we're never going to hit these buttons. Ever.
Okay.
What we're going to do is we're going to flip the coverage. I think it says it here. Okay. Two possible negative things. All right. So we're going to flip the coverage to option 2.
So you kind of start at the top.
Most people will always say option 1. Very, very seldom do they say option 2. If they have, they've already looked down here and seen what it is.
So we flip it to option 2. Now, did we already give them option 1 or option 2? And they said they couldn't afford either? Yeah, because they looked at the big green number. So we're going to flip it to option 2. And then we're going to recap all the benefits. So John and Mary, this will give you a full $20,000 for your final expenses. Notice I didn't say we're going to drop it down to $20,000. No, that sounds like garbage on a plate. We're going to include a full $20,000 for your funeral and final expenses. Also included your income protection, your mortgage protection, your children's education, your accidental hospital protection, and all the riders. That has to make you feel better.
When you switch it to option 2, you just click the box underneath the...
Yep, what you do is you just click the $20,000 box, and then you can hit recalculate. Okay, and if you want to all walk through that so you can see how it works. All right. Then you get to this. This has to make you feel better.
Yeah.
No? It doesn't? You still can't afford it?
No.
Okay. You know what? I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's adjust the final expense to a full $15,000. If my nails don't get in the way. Yeah. So we'll adjust this. So go in the $20,000 box and click the $15,000. You have to type it in. This will still enough to cover funeral expenses, and let's see what it does to your monthly premiums. Now, your income protection will still be the same, your mortgage protection, your college education, the accidental hospitalization, everything else is going to stay the same. Let's recalculate and see where we're at. Now that has to make you feel more comfortable. Nope. Oh, Kyle's all yeses over here. All right.
Kyle's ready to spit.
And this is where,
Easy sales.
yeah, exactly. So here's what we can do. Let's adjust the final expense benefit to the full $10,000. Make sure you don't accidentally put 100,000 in there, because that can change things real quick. All right, so we've got $10,000. This should help covering the cost of a funeral, because remember, funeral and final expenses are different. A basic funeral is $8,300. I think it's switched to $8,300 in the video. So basic funeral is $8,300. Final expenses are $15,000, because that covers all the miscellaneous too. So undo the $10,000. That'll cover your funeral, and still have a little bit left over for your miscellaneous expenses. Your income protection will remain the same, along with your mortgage, child's education, your accident policy, da 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 da. Let's recalculate and see where we're at. Oh, look at us go. Still can't afford it? Okay. I understand and appreciate your concern. As you remember from the video, the average cost of final expenses today, or a basic funeral today is $7,500. Not 7,500, but 7,500. So it's just your final expenses to 7,500. Still covering the cost of a basic funeral. All your other benefits are going to stay the same, and when things get better, we can add more later. All right, let's recalculate and see where we're at. No, you're still not better? Okay. All right, so to make sure that all of your needs are covered, we're going to keep your funeral expenses at the $7,500. It's a basic funeral. What we're also going to do, so your needs are still met, let's adjust your income to a full 3 years of income. This way your family's lifestyle is not going to have to change. And again, when things get better, we can always increase them later. Let's recalculate and see where we're at. Do you see what that just did to that premium? Now, we want to keep it as a bundle, like a cable package. You got your cable, your internet, your home phone, your cell phone. You want to keep it as a bundle because a bundle package, that's attractive. But when you've got your steak, you've got your potato, you've got your drink, you've got your vegetable, and you've got your dessert. That's yummy. But then you took away my chocolate cake. What the hell's wrong with you? I want my chocolate cake. You get nothing. You get extra chocolate cake. But you take away that, and now, okay, so now I've got my meal. But now you're going to take away my glass of wine, too? Okay, so now I've got a potato, a piece of chicken, and some green beans.
Your goal is to always try to keep everything.
And now you're going to take away my steak? Now I got, so we want to keep it together because it's more attractive that way. And if they didn't need it, it wouldn't show up on here. So they need everything that's on there. So we want to keep it together as much as possible. Okay. So now we've got your final expenses. Of course, we're not going to touch those for your funeral. You've got a full 3 years of your income. Now your mortgage is still going to be taken care of. Child's education insurance as well. That great accident plan and all those riders. Those are still on there as well. Recalculate, see where we're at. All right. Still no? Okay. Still no on that. Okay. Tell you what we're going to do. So we can cover the near and present danger, like you said, so you'd have the time to adjust. Let's go ahead and adjust your income.
Notice that every time you change something up here, this is a little reminder, these arrows,
To
that you need
recalculate.
to recalculate.
All right, so we've got final expenses taken care of for the full $7,500. You've got a full 1 year of your income protection. You've got your mortgage protection, your college education, your accident program, and all the riders as well. I mean, at this point, it's like ridiculous, but all right, so let's say that still doesn't work for you. Okay, now, John and Mary, if something were to happen to you unexpectedly, which of these benefits would help protect your family at best?
Probably the first option.
Yeah, I agree with you, but you said you can't afford that.
Oh, yeah.
So we've got the income, the mortgage, the child's education, and the accident
I
plan.
think having the mortgage paid off.
The mortgage paid off is going to be the most important for you?
Yeah.
I agree. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you exactly what you just told me that you wanted. That's exactly what you said you wanted. Does that make final sense? All right. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to ask you a few questions. Fill out the application to see if you guys qualify. Because of course everybody wants this program, but not everybody qualifies for it. Okay, so you see, you can reduce the premium without reducing the value. But at the very end, okay, guys, out of everything that you see here, now I'm never touching that because that always has to be 7,500. That's barely a funeral. I mean, a funeral right now is actually 8,300. You know, the average is 12. So you told me exactly what you wanted. You said you wanted the mortgage paid off. We still got to pay for your funeral. We got to pay for the kids' funeral, so I'm not taking the rider off either. This is exactly what you said you wanted. But we started from 304.74. Now we dropped the bottom out of it. Now which one looks sexier? The one that we started out with? Or now we left you with the layoff plan?
I think it would be, if you ever had to get rid of the income protection, that'd be horrible.
And I've had people actually go back, once we
And
give
add
them
it.
exactly what they want, they look at it again and they go, you know what,
Let's add that back on.
yeah.
Instead of
Or-
because it's
or
only like
Let's
what was
add a little
90.
more up here,
Yeah.
or, you know,
Because for $20 more, you get the income protection
Yeah.
back. So.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, because look at this. Their recommended premium, so 5 pennies on every take-home dollar is $300.
Mhm.
1 hour work week. So they could have afforded that first premium. 1 hour work week, exactly what we promised.
Mhm.
And now they only used $63.89 plus the child rider of $625. That's not
But
included in
later
there.
on, we can call you and say, hey,
Oh.
we feel more comfortable. Can we
Depends.
raise it?
Depends on how old you are. Depends on how
Yeah.
your health is.
You know, so you'd have to reevaluate
Oh,
the
yeah.
health.
oh
and
yeah, you gotta
everything.
go back. I mean,
Okay.
if you can
Well,
qualify today, that's a good thing,
to
but
know.
Yep.
Okay.
Once the policy is issued and it's went through underwriting, you're locked in as long as you pay those premiums.
Mhm.
However, say that, you know, let's go with something smaller and you got rid of the income protection, which is a 10-year renewable and convertible, so you can convert it into a whole life policy at any time with no questions asked. But let's say that that this is what you got, the 7,500 and 30,000 for the mortgage, and you're diagnosed with cancer next year. And that's all you got. Well, honey, that's all you're getting.
Yeah, you're stuck.
So let's get them, and we're not showing them anything that they can't afford. 5 pennies, if you all remember from the overview with me, 5 pennies on every take-home dollar, 1 hour of work a week. I'm not lying. That's exactly what it's going to suggest, and no more than that. All right, that help? Seeing everything on the big screen?
Yeah.
All right, that concludes
I
our
didn't get to that part though, when I clicked